get set. Where them haters, where them hoes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
I'm thinking about calling this one How Not to Cross Train. Because what I would say, the straw that broke the camel's back for me making this video was when I saw a martial arts tutor video where he was talking about he got an email from someone who said that he was a Taekwondo student and a Taekwondo student's teacher didn't want him to train in BJJ because he felt like BJJ was bad, etc. And he discouraged him from cross training. And that student was at the black belt level. And martial arts tutor gave his reasons or insights as to why he thinks an instructor would not want someone to cross train. And I thought that was a good video. I'm going to steal that idea. I'm going to talk about how and why I wouldn't want you to cross train. First of all, I don't want anybody cross training when they haven't even at least gotten to a purple belt under me. Really, I would prefer that you don't cross train until you get to black belt. But if you can't wait that long, you just gotta cross train, you should at least wait until you get to, honestly, a purple or brown belt under me. You should at least be at the intermediate level before you try to cross train. Okay? Again, for me, ideally, once you get to black belt, that's a great time to cross train, especially with me, because by the time you get to black belt with me, you really have a solid foundation in Taekwondo, and you've gotten some good exposure to judo and some exposure to Western boxing and a little bit of Kyusho Jitsu. So that ought to make you a well-rounded Taekwondo in there. But if you feel like you really got to round out your stuff some more, get a black belt in something. Okay? Not only that, cross-training will take time away from what your main art is. So you might as well get a black belt first. Because this is what happens. I've been a student for a long time, and I can tell you, instructors move, instructors stop instructing. Sometimes instructors even go to the hospital and instructors die. You could be right at the point when you were getting ready to get your black belt, then you decide to cross train, and then when you come back, you can't find your instructor anymore. And you're going to feel like, I was almost there, but I left. And I want to come back and the instructor's not there anymore. Yeah, because you jumped out of the pool of your art a little too soon. Now, the overall guide I got, this from looking online, is for people to not cross-train until they get to 4th degree black belt. I think that's a little long, but I understand it because they feel like by the time you have 4th degree, you really have whatever physical skill for your art, you have that down to down to down. You've really literally mastered it. You're even probably teaching it. That's when cross-training will help you pick up concepts. And people that I have seen that try to cross-train after they've gotten to a higher level like that, they do tend to pick up quicker in the thing that you're cross-training in. But I said this is going to be how not to cross-train. And let me tell you some dumb things. Okay? I'm going to say dumb ways to cross-train. For example, well, let me preface it by saying this. Unless you are competing, you're going to be a competitor in your main art, so you're cross-training to beef up that main art, don't cross-train in something that's just like what your forte is, because you're not expanding your skill set that much. Like, for example, you're a judoka. You cross-train in BJJ. You should only do that if you're a judoka who's trying to go to the national or international level of competition, where you know you're competing against people who know judo, jiu-jitsu, and BJJ, and probably have a collegiate wrestling background as well. So since you're competing against all these other grapplers, it will behoove you to get as much grappling as you can get, because you need to compete against all these other grapplers. But if you're studying like most of us are non-competitors who are doing this for enrichment or physical fitness or for intellectual exercise, or dare I say for self-defense. If you're going for self-defense, if you're primarily a grappler, you should study some striking because a lot of fights start off in striking range. And if you get knocked out because you don't know how to get around the punches and, dare I say, kicks, you're not going to get a chance to pull off your grappling. Same thing for someone who has a Taekwondo background. Now, if you're trying to go to the national, international levels of Taekwondo, you want to get as much striking as you can get, then yeah, you could go look at karate to see where it all comes from. You may even want to go into some kind of Wing Chun just so you can practice different angles, okay, or just have a different approach to attacking and defending. But if you really want to do your Taekwondo for self-defense, you should study some form of grappling in case you are attacked at a range that's too close for your Taekwondo techniques. Now, this segues into why I came up with what I came up with. And my thing was, some people may say, oh, you realize the holes in Taekwondo and what was wrong with Taekwondo, and that's why you cross-train. At first, I was thinking that way, but I realized that there are no holes. The problem for me is that Taekwondo actually works a little too well. In that it's really, when you really look at what General Choi made, it is truly a military art. And I'm a civilian, so I cannot afford to use military tactics as a civilian because I'm probably going to go to jail if I kick someone too hard and I break their ribs. If I hit them too hard and I break part of their skull because I hit them at the structural weak point that General Choi tells you to punch. So I need more options than just punch kick. I need options where I can diffuse a situation without having to necessarily hurt the person. Or if they attack me close, I'm trying to get them out to the range I feel comfortable and then attack. I don't want to have to do that. I want to know enough grappling to where if they grab me, I can at least slam them. At least pull off a throw, slam them down. Or if I fall, because sometimes I may fall, I still may not want to hurt this person even though I've fallen. Because falling for Taekwondo, when you fall, you're still striking. You know, I don't want to have to kick them in their chin or hit at the knee while they're coming at me to break it if I don't have to. And there have been plenty of times where I've had to diffuse violent situations where I still had to get to hold the person down. And thank goodness I had some judo exposure as a toddler, so I knew how to do that, even though I wasn't consciously aware of it. So the way not to cross-train is cross-training is something that's just like what your main forte is. You're not broadening your base. You're just doing more of the same thing. It's not helping you. It really isn't. Now, again, like I said, if you are a competitor and you want to compete and you want to focus on that main thing and try to get an edge, yeah, you do that. You know, even from what little bit I know, they even try to build the fighter's game to his or her strengths. They don't have you just going all out willy-nilly here and there. They build to your strength, which makes sense, which is what anyone would do. Oh, and another way to not to cross-train, I see these people. I don't see them as much as I used to, but there used to be people who would just go around and get like a green belt and everything. They get a green belt in this, and then a green belt in that, and then a green belt in that, and then a green belt in this, and then a green belt in that, and a green belt in that. That's not really enough to know the system. Or they get to intermediate ranks to in 8 different systems. That's not really enough to know the system. Now, some people would say this Shodan's not even enough to know the system. I feel like if you don't know about Shodan, you're just never going to know the system. You should have a grasp of it. But, multiple beginner ranks. Not that you should not study other arts, but deliberately doing that instead of forming a base, that's a ridiculous way to cross train. So just to sum it up, because this video is running long, I don't have a problem with you cross training. If you with me, I'll tell you you can stay with other people. It doesn't bother me. The only time I would tell you no is if you're still struggling to learn the first form with me and you tell me you want to cross train, I'll be like, you can't even do Chan Chi. And you tell me you want to go take boxing lessons now, you're not going to stick with that. And I tell you to your face how long I think you need to wait it out. And there was one person I recently was telling about boxing lessons. He hasn't gotten a purple belt yet, but I know he can fight though. And I know he's competent already. So I don't mind telling him to go cross train because I know he can fight though. I wouldn't tell most people that were his rank to cross train, but I know he knows what he's doing with his body. So I don't mind telling him to box. See? That's just how it is. The only way I would like really blatantly discourage you from cross training is it would have to be I'm discouraging you from cross training with an individual because that school has been in the media for dangerous, illegal, and dare I say cult-like activities. If I know a school is toxic, I would discourage you from training in that school. But I would not tell you that that whole entire style is bad. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. And when you cross train, broaden your horizons if you're a non-competitor. If you're a competitor, train if you know an art is going to beef up where you're weak at so that you can dominate your competition. So those are two approaches to cross training. Don't cross train and get 85 yellow belts in 85 different styles because you really don't have a foundation and everything. Get a base, plant your roots in something, and then form your own trade. And peace.